actually doing this. I don't know how to do these. Look at this fucking wing though. They're not even. It's fine. We won't say anything. I've only ever done like IGTVs, like it's one cut, but like these, cuts. Well, okay, my name is Erica. I'm 1/3 of the podcast Books and Betches. We air a new episode every Tuesday morning and they're funny, I swear. They're usually 30 minutes, but they could be as long as like 45. Some of them are 2 hours. Don't ask me which one because you know what it is. It's Avatar. First YouTube video, hey. Let's talk about bad books versus books you just don't like, because there's a difference. Let's talk about bad books first. Books that you don't like. So a bad book would be a book that has problems with grammar, problems with the formatting, problems with the story. Maybe there's continuity errors, maybe there's plot holes, maybe there's character arcs that are really sloppily done. Maybe the characters don't have fucking arcs. Maybe the characters are Mary Janes where there's no problems whatsoever. Maybe the characters are really annoying. Maybe the characters are really, like, don't have a personality whatsoever. Maybe the just overall writing is really hard to read. Maybe the word choice is really repetitive. I don't know, maybe the content of the book just sucks. Maybe the story just fucking sucks. There's a lot of ways a book can be bad. I've read so many books. So many books this year. I've read almost 400 books this year. In one year. You've read that many books, you kind of have read a few bad ones. I've definitely read a few bad ones. And a lot of that is my own fault. I'm reading like shitty shifter books. They're not great. Their story is automatically not great. I love shifter books. I love shitty shifter books, and I didn't for a really long time. And then I read a bunch of them that I really liked, and I was like, oh wait, no, I do like this now. I've read a lot of them that are so fucking bad. And it's mostly the storyline that's really bad and the writing that's really bad. It's like the dialogue between characters are not really great, or like the story just doesn't make a ton of sense, or it just isn't engaging enough for me. And that's fine. Other people have enjoyed them, obviously, because they have decent ratings. I don't read books under 4.0 ratings on Goodreads, because when you read this many books, you have to have some type of like line. And you know what? I might be missing out on some good books because I'm a snob and I will only read a book above a 4.0 rating. And there have been a couple books that I have read that are under the 4.0 rating. And guess what? They weren't good. They were not good. Some of you might be sitting there being like, Erica, you're being a little pretentious right now. Books aren't bad or good or blah, blah. It's just what you like. And I feel you, because that's kind of like my original thought on this was like, oh, there's no bad books. It's just what you like. That's not true. There's a reason why people win awards for stuff. I'm not saying the book community, because I think the book community is a little crooked, but especially like think about the Oscars and like film. I think of everything in terms of film because I have a film background. There are good movies and there are bad movies. And there's usually a criteria for that, some type of criteria. And yeah, it kind of depends on the genre. Film has a criteria, and books are very similar. There's things that have to be hit for it to be considered a good movie. Same with books. But action movies are not good movies. Not historically. I honestly can't even think of one that is actually like good. They're usually really unrealistic. The acting's not usually great. The writing's not usually great. The story usually has plot holes. But people love action movies. People fucking love action movies. I love action movies. They're great. They're fun. They're entertaining. Just because a book is bad doesn't mean it's not good. Doesn't mean it's not entertaining. Doesn't mean that like you shouldn't read it just because it's not great. A standard in which we consider good. Just because a book isn't the next Harry Potter doesn't mean that it's not readable. Just because this isn't a great book doesn't mean you won't enjoy it. Now that we kind of have that out of the way, let's talk about good books that people say are bad. There are books that are good. They're just good. They're good books. By definition, by everything, by the book, just a good book. It has like very solid writing. It's very creative, blah, 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 blah. The story, the characters, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Great. There are people who read these books and they go, this is not a good book. And that's what frustrates me, because it's like, no, it's a good book. It is a good book. You just don't like it. And that's okay. There's a difference. I just didn't like it. Saying like, I just didn't like it wasn't for me. This story just wasn't for me. This wasn't for me. That. Guess what? I fucking hate horrors. I hate like pop up out of the darkness type scares. But guess what? There are some of those movies that are really good. The Insidious movies are really good. And if you look at it objectively, you consider the genre and you consider X, Y, and Z, you could sit there and go, yeah, this movie was good for what it is and for, you know, what it's supposed to be. Just like you could say that about an action movie. It's not good by like overall standards, but it's good for an action movie. My dad used to say, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Did anyone else's dad do that? There's a big difference between not liking a book and thinking it's actually bad. And the big difference between the two is really just the fundamentals. The writing, you might not like the writing style, but if it's like fundamentally good, where it's the wording and the intent and all that stuff is clear, you don't have to read things over a couple times. There's no like sentence structure problems. The punctuation is correct. The formatting's correct. All of those things kind of, it's like, well, then at this point, if there's no like fundamental issues, then it's really just your own opinion of you not liking that writing style. You feel me? Which is fine. You're allowed to not like things. I just think it's annoying when people try to say things are bad. When they're not bad, it's just not what you like. Just it feels like we're trying to bring people down. Somebody's like, well, I love the color yellow. And somebody's like, yeah, yellow fucking sucks. It's not a good color. It's not a good color. And then you're sitting there being like, well, I like yellow. And they like yellow, and like all my friends like yellow. Like, kind of sucks that you don't like yellow, but like, what? Like, why is it bad? It's a primary color, so it's not good. It's just not good. It's not a good color. I went into Forever 21 with John, and he was like, bitch, you're forever 30 now. Thanks, John. You can't buy shit in here anymore. Conclusion of all this is really, let's watch our words. Think about how you look at books now. Like whether a book is bad or good, or it's just you don't like it. Most books I don't like, but I've also read a lot of fucking bad books that are just bad. The writing was bad, it was hard to follow, it was chaotic. I think like the number one thing in terms of like grading a book is like ease of reading. It's like physically hard to read it, and like the sentences are jarring. I'm leaning towards bad. You need to be able to like easily consume what's happening and what's being said to some degree. That being said, like there are some books that have like complex sentence structures or like complex thoughts and ideas and big words and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying like if the structure of the sentence makes it difficult for the reader to read because it is not proper English, then that can be problematic. Those are my thoughts. And if you haven't listened to our podcast and you liked listening to me speak right now, definitely go check out Books and Betches. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere where you get your podcasts. And we talk about books, and we swear, and we spoil, and we talk about sex. So we're super funny, and it's fine. Toodaloo! I don't know how to end a YouTube video.